Imagine waking up in darkness, surrounded by suffocating silence. Your hands frantically claw at the wooden confines enclosing you, desperate for escape. This was the terrifying reality for Octavia Hatcher, a young woman whose tragic tale has become a haunting legend in the quiet town of Pikeville, Kentucky.
The hotel was owned by a man named James Hatcher. James Hatcher managed to find wealth in what was a relatively poor area.
Octavia's story unfolds against the backdrop of late 19th century Pikeville, a quaint town nestled amidst the rolling hills of Kentucky. Born in 1869 to Jacob and Pricey Smith, Octavia grew up in relative comfort, her family's wealth a testament to her father's success as a prosperous merchant. At the age of 20, Octavia married James Hatcher, a prominent figure in Pikeville and a wealthy businessman known for his ventures in coal mining and timber. The couple's happiness was short-lived when tragedy struck following the birth of their first and only child, Jacob. Within hours of his birth, Jacob succumbed to illness, leaving Octavia grief-stricken and despondent. Her despair only deepened as she fell ill herself, slipping into a coma that confounded doctors and defied all attempts at diagnosis and treatment. Despite their efforts, Octavia passed away in 1891, leaving behind a devastated husband and a community in mourning. Yet it was the events that unfolded after Octavia's death that would etch her name into Pikeville's history with a macabre twist. Rumors began to circulate that several residents who had fallen ill with the same mysterious sickness Octavia had suffered from had inexplicably recovered. Speculation ran rampant that Octavia may have been buried alive, her desperate attempts to escape her premature grave fueling a haunting urban legend that persists to this day.
Here's the marker for James Hatcher, and you can see that James...
In January 1891, the Hatcher family faced a heartbreaking tragedy. Octavia Hatcher, a young mother filled with hope and love, welcomed her first child, Jacob, into the world. However, their joy was short-lived as Jacob succumbed to illness mere hours after his birth, leaving Octavia and James shattered. The loss of Jacob was a devastating blow to Octavia. She spiraled into a deep despair, consumed by grief over the loss of her son. As weeks turned into months, Octavia's health began to decline rapidly. She became increasingly weak and bedridden, unable to find solace from her overwhelming sorrow. Despite the best efforts of doctors, Octavia's condition continued to deteriorate. She slipped into a coma, her body ravaged by an illness that defied explanation. In April 1891, Octavia Hatcher tragically passed away, her death leaving James and the residents of Pikeville bewildered and heartbroken. The cause of Octavia's illness remained a mystery, with doctors unable to provide a definitive explanation. Her untimely death cast a shadow over Pikeville, leaving many to wonder about the circumstances surrounding her passing. The loss of Jacob and Octavia's subsequent decline marked a tragic chapter in Pikeville's history. Their story would become intertwined with the legend of Octavia Hatcher, a tale of loss, grief, and unanswered questions that would endure for generations.
They were of the thought that she could have been buried of the same sickness suffered by the other residents.
As the spring of 1891 unfolded, Pikeville, Kentucky was engulfed in a wave of sorrow and fear. Octavia Hatcher's passing left her husband James Hatcher and the community reeling. The circumstances surrounding her death were shrouded in mystery, sparking rumors and speculation that would give rise to one of the region's most enduring urban legends. Following Octavia's death, her body was swiftly prepared for burial, a common practice at the time, especially in the face of a disease outbreak. However, the quick burial would later become a point of contention and fuel for the growing legend. Octavia was laid to rest in the Hatcher family plot, a place that would soon become the epicenter of Pikeville's most chilling tale. Shortly after Octavia's interment, rumors began to circulate through Pikeville. Reports surfaced of other residents falling mysteriously ill, exhibiting symptoms similar to those described in Octavia's case. Many of these individuals slipped into comas, mirroring Octavia's tragic descent into unconsciousness. This uncanny resemblance to Octavia's condition fueled speculation that her illness was not an isolated incident, but rather part of a larger and more sinister pattern. As the whispers spread, so too did the fear and paranoia. The people of Pikeville began to question the circumstances of Octavia's death. Could she have been buried alive, mistakenly pronounced dead due to the mysterious nature of her illness? The idea sent chills down the spines of many, forcing them to confront the fragility of life and the uncertainty of death. James Hatcher, already devastated by the loss of his wife, was plagued by doubt and uncertainty. Unable to shake the lingering suspicion that Octavia may have been buried alive, he made the fateful decision to have her body exhumed. In a macabre twist of fate, the truth would be more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. When Octavia's coffin was opened, the scene that greeted onlookers was one of unimaginable horror. Octavia's body bore signs of a desperate struggle. Her nails were broken and bloody, evidence of her frantic attempts to escape the confines of her coffin. Her face was contorted in a grimace of terror, a haunting reminder of the nightmare she endured in her final moments. The discovery of Octavia's condition only served to deepen the mystery surrounding her death. How had such a tragic mistake been made? What had caused Octavia to fall into a coma in the first place? These questions would linger in the minds of Pikeville's residents for years to come, fueling the legend of Octavia Hatcher and ensuring that her story would never be forgotten.
They had this statue built and shipped to him. I believe it was from Italy.
After the horrifying discovery of Octavia's condition, James Hatcher was plunged into a deep and profound grief. The realization that his beloved wife had been buried alive was a burden too heavy to bear. Determined to honor her memory and atone for the tragic mistake, James embarked on a mission to ensure that Octavia would never be forgotten. In a display of devotion and remorse, James commissioned the construction of a monumental statue in Octavia's likeness. The statue, crafted in exquisite detail, depicted Octavia cradling her infant son Jacob in her arms. It was a poignant tribute to a life cut short and a love that knew no bounds. The statue was erected at the site of Octavia's grave, a solemn reminder of the events that had unfolded there. But James' grief did not end with the construction of the statue. He continued to mourn Octavia's loss for the rest of his days. Despite his wealth and success, James remained a broken man, haunted by the events that had torn his life apart. He never remarried, choosing instead to devote himself to preserving Octavia's memory. In addition to the monument, James also took steps to ensure that Octavia's story would be remembered for generations to come. He shared her tale with anyone who would listen, turning her tragic death into a cautionary tale of the dangers of hasty burial. James' efforts helped solidify Octavia's place in Pikeville's history, ensuring that her legacy would endure long after he was gone. In the years following Octavia's death, James' own life took a somber turn. He remained in Pikeville, living out the remainder of his days in quiet contemplation. Despite his wealth and status, James chose to live a simple life, eschewing the trappings of his former prosperity. He became known for his generosity and kindness, often using his wealth to help those less fortunate than himself. James Hatcher passed away in 1939, nearly half a century after Octavia's death. He was buried at the foot of the monument he had erected for his wife, his final resting place a testament to the enduring love he had held for her. Today, the statue still stands as a silent sentinel over Pikeville, a reminder of a love that transcended death and a tragedy that will never be forgotten. The story of Octavia Hatcher is a haunting tale that has captured the imagination of Pikeville's residents for generations. Her tragic death and the events that followed serve as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the mysteries that still surround us. The legend of Octavia Hatcher continues to endure, passed down through the years as a cautionary tale of the dangers of hasty burial and the enduring power of love. Her monument stands as a silent tribute to a life cut short and a love that knew no bounds. As the years have passed, the details of Octavia's story have become intertwined with the fabric of Pikeville's folklore. Her tale is told and retold, each telling adding a new layer of mystery and intrigue. And though the truth may never be known, Octavia's story lives on as a testament to the enduring power of myth and the timeless nature of a good ghost story. In Pikeville, Octavia Hatcher is more than just a legend. She is a symbol of the town's history and a reminder of the mysteries that lie buried beneath its surface. Her story serves as a reminder that even in death, some secrets are meant to remain hidden.